Gentlemen, it is Pack here. I feel like I should name this series something. What I'm doing is I'm going to NBA 2K23 and I'm looking at the custom rosters and showcasing a roster that I think is really, really cool. Again, I don't know what to name this. Roster reactions? I'll figure it out. But if you like that kind of content, to look at original rosters, ratings, players, and all that kind of stuff, please join the pack and subscribe. Reminder, this is only for PS5 because that's the only 2K I have, and that's the only one I care about. So deal with it. All right, let's get this video started. So, as you always know, I already found the roster, so this is how you're going to do it. You're going to go to Features, you're going to go to Create Roster, you're going to go to NBA, Modern, and Current, and then you're going to go to User Created Roster, and then you're going to go all the way down to All Players Prime. This is the video we're doing. So, this roster, you get every single NBA team, and you get their best players and all their players and put them in their prime. And you're going to see how cool this is in a second. Let's check it out, man. I think the first team's a really bad example, by the way. We have Joel Embiid and James Harden in their primes. All this does is just make James Harden a little bit more of a higher rating than before. I mean, James Harden's already good on the Sixers. It's just they make him even better. And then Tobias Harris is rated a little more accurately. PJ Tucker a little better. Besides that, nothing really crazy for the Philadelphia 76ers. An L start to the video. I know. But the Milwaukee Bucks. Now we have Brook Lopez as the second best player on the team. And I'd argue that Brook Lopez was higher than an 87 overall in his prime. Maybe like to an 88, maybe even an 89. He was one of the best centers. He's the all-time leading Nets player. He had seasons where he was averaging 21 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks. I mean, he was always pretty damn good. So Giannis and Brook Lopez eating it up while still having the two players in their prime. And then Serge Ibaka, right? You have Serge Ibaka. I mean, Ibaka was even higher than an 84 when he was averaging up to 15 points, 9 rebounds on 3 blocks a game. You could also argue Ibaka was like an 86 overall. So even then, you also have George Hill on this team, an absolutely stacked team. You have the Chicago Bulls. Again, not too different. You have DeMar Levine in their primes, which is they're already in their primes. Vooch is basically already in his prime, but Andre Drummond is better. Andre Drummond was like a 16 rebound type of player on 17 points a game on good efficiency. That was the kind of player you had with Goran Dragic, who was really good on the Heat, and Lonzo Ball healthy, which is really, really important. But that's really it for this Bulls team. What about the Cleveland Cavaliers? Huge difference. You have Kevin Love as the best player on this team. Timberwolves Kevin Love was different. So now you have Kevin Love with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. And then you have Ricky Rubio. So basically the Timberwolves and the Cleveland teams put together, essentially. That's pretty cool. What about the Boston Celtics? It's basically the exact same team, basically. I mean, you have Danilo Gallinari, who was he was a bucket for a little bit, 20 points per game in Denver. So he had a couple players here. That's really it, though. I mean, no one else really changes. So I guess Al Horford also is like a younger version of himself. But besides that, it's basically the same team. The Clippers is pretty stacked up. Kawhi not dying. Pre-Zaza Kawhi, essentially. You have Paul George on the Pacers. You have John Wall pre-injuries, like pre-falling in his house, basically. Reggie Jackson was good for a little bit. Nicholas Batum was good for a little bit. Robert Covington. I mean, a ton of players that were in their prime. It's just basically like a full power Clippers team. It's just really cool idea of a team. The Grizzlies, this should be no change at all besides Steven Adams, right? Yeah, basically nothing. Danny Green, I guess, as well. That's really it. For the Atlanta Hawks, no change. I guess Clint Capella is a little higher, but besides that, I don't see, Justin Holiday. Besides that, no changes for the Hawks. The Miami Heat one, though, is pretty massive. You have Jimmy Jordan. You have Victor Oladipo on the Pacers. You have Kyle Lowry on the Raptors with Bam and Tyler Hero. You have Adonis Haslam in his prime. All right, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty good rating. One of the cooler teams, one of the more teams that are affected by this for sure. I like this one. This one's fire to me. The Charlotte Hornets, well, they bring Miles Bridges back from the void. They also have Gordon Hayward when he was in Utah, who was, not injured all the time. I mean, this one's a pretty cool one. It's definitely a significantly better team, but it's still not good enough. You have the Utah Jazz team. Now it's Mike Conley in his prime. Where is Lauri Markkanen? Bro, they did not update this roster at all. That is disrespectful to Lauri Markkanen in every sense of the word. But I guess you would have Mike Conley in his prime, Rudy Gay in his prime. Rudy Gay was higher than an 83 overall in his prime. Rudy Gay was like an 85. Yeah, Bojan, and then you also would have Lauri Markkanen. I mean, it'd be a pretty good team. With the Sacramento Kings, I guess Harrison Barnes, Kent Bazemore, that's really it. Nothing crazy with this team either. I mean, it's not updated either to the current Kings that are doing pretty well, but it's still wrong. The New York Knicks, this is the big one. Derrick Rose, 95 overall would be insanity. RJ Barrett, Julius Randle's prime was like an 88 overall, to be fair. So this one's wrong too. Actually, you know what? I'm changing this one. All right, much better. You have Derrick Rose in his prime, Julius Randle in his prime, RJ Barrett, Jalen Brunson. Well, you also have Evan Fournier dropping like what, 20 points a game for a little bit, 18 points a game. This is a much better team for the Knicks, right? I mean, Derrick Rose in his prime immediately makes his team a contender, obviously, but still not a super exciting one either. The Lakers is an obvious one that would get people excited. LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, and Anthony Davis all in their primes would change everything. I mean, automatically makes his team super way more interesting. It's still not like the bench still sucks, which tells you everything you need to know about the bench. But the big three is an amazing team that would immediately win a championship, I feel like. Orlando Magic have absolutely no changes besides Jonathan Isaac coming back from the dead. Besides that, nothing else. The Dallas Mavericks, I guess Tim Hardaway Jr. and Spencer Dinwiddie, but besides that, I mean, I guess JaVale McGee as well. Again, another team that doesn't really get affected, which should also tell you a lot about the Dallas Mavericks. The Brooklyn Nets. Now, this is where we get to the pretty impressive. Sorry, I know I laughed out of nowhere. I like how they added bubble TJ Warren's jersey just for this. This wasn't here before. That's kind of funny to me. But yeah, bubble TJ Warren, Ben Simmons from the 76ers, Kyrie winning NBA championships, Kevin Durant in his prime. I mean, an absolutely stacked team that should also be in contention for winning a championship. The Denver Nuggets. This one's really weird because you have Nikola Jokic, but then you also have DeAndre Jordan as the second best player. Jamal Murray, again, another team that's not super affected, maybe Jeff Green, but again, another team that I don't see any crazy changes, but it is funny to see that DeAndre Jordan is the second best player on the Nuggets now. Indiana Pacers, just Daniel Tice. That's it. And even then, they don't have Halliburton's correct rating. Another team that doesn't get affected at all. The Pelicans, I do think Jonas Valanciunas' rating is should be a little higher. Maybe that's like an 85-ish. And then CJ McCollum was definitely like an 87 for a while. So a couple ratings I disagree with. But again, this team is already kind of not changing too much. What about the Detroit Pistons? Yeah, no surprise that there's no changes here because besides like Sadiq Bey and Marvin Bagley III, I don't see any players that were around for a long time that had like really underrated ratings. I would say that Nerlens Noel was technically like a 79 overall for a little bit, but another team that I don't see major changes in. The Toronto Raptors. Man, you know, I thought this was going to affect a lot more teams. There's some cool teams so far, but like the Raptors get no change, like at all. Like literally nothing. Maybe Thaddeus Young besides that. So the Rockets kind of get a change because now you get Eric Gordon in their prime. They're still not even a playoff team for being real, but I guess that's it, right? You get something. San Antonio Spurs, again, they have a super young team, so no surprise here. Besides Josh Richardson, there's really no change for this team at all. Now here's a big one. The Phoenix Suns. You have Chris Paul, Hornets. Chris Paul is one of the greatest players of all time. You have Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, with Jay Crowder, who was like a borderline all-star for a little bit. Definitely some stuff here. Again, only two players really being changed, but this would make the Suns a way better team if Chris Paul was in his prime. The Thunder, you get Derek Favors in his prime. That's really it. And Chet Holmgren healthy. And then SGA would be like a 91 overall. So there's some stuff here, but still not good enough. The Timberwolves is a pretty big one. You have Cat playing better. You have Rudy Gobert playing better, while still having Anthony Edwards and D'Lo. D'Lo was like an 86 overall with the Nets, so this should be even higher. So again, you have some pretty big changes here, and they would be significantly better in their primes. The disrespect to Jeremy Grant here. Jeremy Grant's like an 86 overall in his prime, but you have Dame playing out of his mind, 94 overall. Definitely a lot better ones. This is the major one. You have Steph in his prime. You have Clay in his prime. You have Draymond Green in his prime. With Andrew Wiggins, I mean, he was like an 86 overall in the Timberwolves. I mean, the big three in their primes while still having Andrew Wiggins in his prime and then current Jordan Poole is definitely a scary team. And then finally the Wizards, who get basically no change at all. Damn, I feel like a lot of teams now, like if any player that was good back then doesn't do well now, they just aren't even on NBA teams anymore. That's what I'm noticing. That's what this roster really made me realize. There's some cool teams, like the Lakers are super cool. I want to know what you guys think. What is the biggest upgraded team out of this? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this channel, please give it a sub. I'll see you guys next time.